India's beautiful carpets, an art brought to India by the Mughal emperors over 400 years ago. They're still made in the same way, intricate, detailed patterns, knotted by hand. World trade in Indian carpets is massive, worth £3,500 million in exports. Most Indian carpets sold in Europe and the United States are made in a region of Uttar Pradesh which stretches from Varanasi to Mirzapur, known as the carpet belt. The carpet industry provides jobs and wages for over 1 million adults, but it's also supported by an extra 300,000 smaller pairs of hands.
This phenomena was hardly recognized. The government simply answered in the parliament that there is no bonded child labor-like system exists in India.
Now government is a bit showing interest, maybe on the paper they are showing interest, now we are ready to eliminate the child labor. At least now they have accepted this fact that children are in the carpet industry and they are in large number. Our main target is total elimination of child labor in this country because they are the future of this country.
The South Asian Coalition on Child Servitude, SACS, is made up of organizations from Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, dedicated to wiping out child labor throughout the subcontinent. In India, children work in many industries, but the carpet industry is one of those classified by law as hazardous, making it illegal to employ children under 14.
There are many beautiful laws against bonded labor system, against child labor system and hazardous industries. We have a good facade of constitutional provisions. India has signed on a lot of international treaties, including Human Rights Convention, including UN Convention on the Rights of the Child of 1990. Everything is there. But unfortunately, we see a lack of political will.
The government is more concerned with maximizing exports and earning foreign exchange from carpets than with monitoring methods of production and enforcing the laws against child labor. As a consequence, the carpet industry employs the largest number of children, some as young as 6.
The children can be asked to work for a longer period of time. They can be paid less. They will not be forming any union or anything like that, and they are kept more or less in bondedness. That is practically the guiding reason why children are employed. Nothing else. It is sheer greediness of the carpet manufacturer.
We had to get up before 6 o'clock and start work almost straight away. After a short break and just one chapati at lunchtime, we'd work through to 7 in the evening and sometimes till 11 if we hadn't finished. If we made the slightest mistake, we were beaten.
Most of the children working in the carpet industry come from low-caste or tribal families in Bihar, one of India's poorest states. Bihar is drought-prone and has declining fertile land, making it hard for many poor families to continue being self-sufficient. Their survival is becoming increasingly difficult.
When the crop fails, the family, they don't know what exactly to do, and they're all in debt, steeped in debt. And this is taken advantage by these middlemen who are scouting talents, etc. So what the carpet manufacturer does is he engages a set of middlemen. They go around these target areas.
An agent came to my parents' village and he said to them, "If you send your son with me, I will give you a lot of money. You will be able to live in comfort." He was friendly to my father and offered him drink. Then after talking some more, my father said, "Yes, my son will go," and he forced me to go with him.
Devanadin's parents were paid 200 rupees, only £4, and he was taken to work in the carpet belt. Children work in sheds, alongside adults who check their work. For 2 years, Devanaden worked 15 hours a day, often enduring ill treatment.
If the day's quota of weaving wasn't finished, then I was beaten. If I went out without permission, even to the loo, they used to beat me.
I got a fever and I was sick, but the loom owner wanted me to work. I said I was sick and needed rest. He said there's no need for rest. I should be working. When I started working, I collapsed, so he attacked me with a knife here.
It was really bad. We were never allowed to play. We had to eat, sleep and work in the same place.
There is no proper lighting, there is no ventilation. They are dirty, smelling, and full of woolen dust.
Years of working in these conditions cause many illnesses. Lung infections, skin allergies, malnutrition and eventually poor eyesight are all common. Loom owners show little concern.
If the children got some finger cut, which is very usual, very common every day, when they cut the knots, there could be any finger cut. I never came across any incident where the child has been provided proper medicine or treatment, medical treatment, nothing. Most of the times, these cuts are filled with rubbed matchstick powder and put to fire with another matchstick so that the flesh and blood and skin could burn together and fix.
This treatment stops the blood from staining the carpet. The children are normally contracted to work for 10 years. There's nothing they can do to escape their misery.
These poor children cannot form the trade unions. They cannot go to the court of law. They cannot go on strikes. They are nameless, faceless, identityless people.
Since these people are poor, so they think it's better if they send their children. But once their children are sent, then they never come back.
Hundreds of miles away in Bihar, their parents realize they've been tricked. They haven't received a rupee of their son's earnings, their lives have not improved as promised, and they don't know where their children are. Some do find them only to be told their lump sum payment was a loan. Ridiculously high interest rates have been added, and to get their sons back, they have to pay off the debt. They can't. They and their children have become slaves to the carpet industry.
After 6-7 months, then they realize they have done something wrong. Then they will go here and there, pillar to post, to get back their children.
Word has spread that Kailash, with a network of activists, can help parents to find their lost children. Since 1983, Kailash has rescued 5,000 boys by carefully planned secret raids on carpet sheds. These parents haven't seen their sons for over 3 years. Their sons were kidnapped and they were unable to trace them. Activists searched the carpet belt, posing as wool merchants to avoid arousing suspicion, and eventually found all the boys working together. The activists explain the layout of the village and where to find the children. The raid is kept secret. Only the activists and Kailash know the details. A police escort is required by law, but even they don't know where the raid is taking place. A plan is agreed, a map's drawn up, and the raid is underway. 16 children have been released. First, they'll be taken to the local magistrate to get their official release papers and a rehabilitation allowance. Then, they're finally free. The younger boys are taken home. The older ones go to Mukti Ashram outside Delhi. The ashram helps people from all industries to recover from the trauma of bonded labor.
When they come in the ashram, they all are so much suppressive, so much afraid. They are just unable to speak. Even if we ask them about their name, they are so hesitant to speak their names even. So it takes time for us to build that self-confidence in them.
The boys spend at least 3 months at the ashram. Their training is intensive, so they can learn skills with which they hope to earn a living once they return home.
I have learnt metalwork at the ashram and I enjoy it. I am a very poor person, so when I go back to my village, I would like to get a loan to start a business.
Their survival is also dependent on learning to be free from the mental slavery which caste and bonded labour have imposed on them. They cannot be truly free unless these barriers are broken down.
We all eat together, we all celebrate all the festivals together. So that really helps them, because no one in their life has sat with them, especially the educated and the elite, the people from upper caste and all. So this is for their first time in their life. These people are not aware of the laws which are existing in this country. They are not aware of the justice system which is existing in this country. So through group discussions, through plays, we give them training, making them socially aware what is the system of this country, what are their rights, what is the constitution, and for whom it has been made. They start realizing themselves as a human being. They are also the citizen of this country and they have also got certain rights for which they have to fight.
Demonstrations organized by SACS are held each year throughout Asia. They help to focus attention on the plight of working children and what can be done to combat it.
Mukti Ashram gave me very good training. When I go home, I'll organize people against bonded labor and I will demonstrate against it. We will not allow agents to come to our villages and take our children away.
Bansidar was freed after knotting carpets for 9 years. For him and hundreds of others, demonstrations are an opportunity to fight for those still in servitude. But the success of demonstrations, press coverage and raids have made the industry nervous. Their efforts to defend it have had a distressing impact on SAC's work.
When we conduct any raid, we always keep the information secret. In this particular incident, we kept all the secrets. But even then, the information was passed on. So Sub-Divisional Magistrate himself didn't know where we are going, the name of the village. But he knew that after rescue, the children would be brought to the revenue office, to the court.
Carpet traders gathered at the court to protest against the raids. The loss of cheap labour cuts profits. The children and parents were threatened and had to be smuggled inside to safety. The next morning, the magistrate told the children and their parents to return to Bihar, a journey of several hundred miles, with no food, money or protection. The loom owners took advantage.
Some of the family members of these loom owners were already waiting, and they were caught within no time.
Efforts to trace the children failed. They could be working at any one of 1,500 looms owned by the same family. Eventually, the Supreme Court in Delhi ordered the children to be found and taken home. It took 3 months.
The number of children engaged in carpet industry has been increasing due to the growth of export. So we found that it is really frustrating to rescue children and seeing more children are coming.
If you do exports in a country like India, you have to have a social attitude, you have to think about the consequences, whether this is harmful for the country or whether it's good for the workers. We want to improve the image of India in the field of carpets, and we also want to improve the working conditions of the population and to avoid that children are exploited in a big way.
दक्षिण एशियाई बालदास्ता विरोधी संगठन के मतलब विचारों से हम लोग
With the influence of SACS and the IGEP, we formed a non-profit making organization called Rugmark, which developed a labeling system and will give a logo to the carpet manufacturers, not using child labor.
लेबलिंग सिस्टम बनाएगा और वो लोगो देगा जो विदाउट चाइल्ड लेबर का गलीचा बनाएंगे उनको.
More than 50 manufacturers owning a total of 12,000 looms have joined the association since it was founded in 1992. But most manufacturers still resist a labelling system. Some even argue that children's small, nimble fingers are better for knotting complex designs.
The children can't weave properly. If they do, they spoil the carpet. It's hard work. And bending the thread down needs a lot of strength.
शुरुआत जब हम लोगों ने किया तो हम लोगों का बहुत विरोध हुआ.
When we started, there was a lot of resistance to our work. Exporters objected. All sorts of allegations were made against us. But we stood up to them. We said this is good and moral work.
The terms of a rug mark will include registering and monitoring looms, and some of the proceeds will be used to open schools in the carpet belt. The association, SACS and IGEP hope to persuade more manufacturers it's in their interest to join.
They would follow the law of the land, so they should not have any fear while they are using adult people. Secondly, if they are prepared to spoil their own industry, they should continue with the child labor. But if they wanted to protect their industry, they have to remove the children.
But the industry has a vested interest in using child labor, so another argument is that the industry would collapse without them. In fact, if all the children were removed, there are enough unemployed adults to take their places. While pressure continues within India, Kailash has realized there's much to be gained from a campaign in the West.
I have taken up this issue with some of the human rights organizations, consumer organizations, and some development organizations like Bread for the World and Terradas Homes in Germany, and Christian Aid in England, Anti-Slavery International in England. So we have initiated a carpet consumers movement in Germany. It started from Germany, then it spread it over to other European countries and United States.
I believe that the manufacturers partly are willing to change the situation, as well as exporters. I believe that also importers are there who want to change the situation and to improve the social conditions for the children. But I'm convinced that the most important actor in the whole game is a consumer.
What consumers can do is, when buying a carpet, they can insist that the carpet they buy is produced by an adult and not a child. The other thing they can do is insist, or at least express their concern to the retailer of the carpet, that they should not be stocking carpets which are produced by children.
While SACS and the other campaigning organizations are encouraged by the speed with which the West has responded against child labor, they want to ensure consumers still buy carpets from Asia.
One thing we're clearly not calling for is a boycott. The Indian carpet industry is essential to the Indian economy, and we want people to buy Indian carpets, but we want them to make an informed choice.
It is only the consumer who can really pressurize the manufacturers. So it is my humble request to them, they should stop buying things, but instead of, they should demand for the things which are produced without child labor.
If pressure is maintained, both outside and within Asia, an end to the children's misery may not be far away.